Joel Hodgson has talked about an online reboot for this show for the longest time, and this is it. My name is Hunter, and I seriously urge you to support this project.
Hark! The dates have fallen upon us. The day that was sent to change our lives has finally come. Lord Hodgson hath smiled upon us this day, and he says keep circulating the URL. And yes, circulating the URL we have. And after 18 long, barren years, finally, we've reached the promised land. There'll be no more wars, no more famine, no more starvation. Because at the end of the day, we can all go home and realize, hey, we brought back Mystery Science Theater 3000. And there's a new episode of Hunter Reviews about it. Bonus! We tried to make this look better, but this is the best we got. Hello, my name is Hunter, the movie reviewing pony, because when it comes to cinema, humans cannot be trusted. And after giving it a bit of thought, I'm not too fond of geese either. The time has come once again. Yeah, and I thought I was done the second time I brought it up, but once again, I'm forced to talk about Mystery Science Theater 3000. But can you really fault anyone for that? It was arguably the greatest show on television and probably the greatest show to ever exist. Or at least within nerd culture it certainly is. And thanks to the amazing power of the internet, canceling it didn't do anything to slow it down. In fact, it became stronger. The premise and humor of the show stuck very well with millennials, and newer generations were able to pick it up very easily. So naturally, the internet exploded when the reveal of an online reboot finally came out, leading to one of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns of all time. With a total of $6.3 million raised in and outside of Kickstarter. It not only restored faith in humanity, but also just reinforced the fact that 2015 was just a fan-fucking-tastic year. Mid-production, they also had the MST3K reunion, which not only was a ton of fun, but just pretty much assured everyone that the show was in good hands. And on top of all this, they were picked up by Netflix, which is the perfect platform for them. That or Sci-Fi Channel, because they're always on about terrible movies anyway. And Joel, the original creator of the show, was behind the reboot. It is impossible to align the stars more perfectly than they did with the revival of this show. And alas, a year and a half has gone by, and it's finally time. It almost doesn't feel real, actually. Like, it doesn't really feel like it's back. But it is. So, without further ado, let's have a look at Mystery Science Theater 3000, The Reboot. I swear at this point, this show has jumped networks more times than any other show in history. Netflix technically makes it the fourth network that it's been paired up with. On top of this, we're also chalking up another casting change for pretty much everyone in the show. Because Hodgson has taken to directing the show now, and Nelson is busy with riff tracks. And let's face it, that's a pretty sweet gig. But another thing, crowdfunding has been painted in such a bad light in recent years. But most of these issues aren't really that important. The show always went through casting changes and we didn't care. You see, here's the thing, it's pretty difficult to review Mystery Science Theater 3000 as a whole, which is why our review is more of a sum-up of the series. MST3K was never really meant to be taken seriously and was always meant to make people laugh. So to help critics everywhere, I've simplified the formula. 1, they have to riff on movies. 2, it has to be funny. If you narrow it down to those 2 basic components, it actually becomes relatively easy to review. Because A is their basic formula, and B is what kept people coming back. But the biggest problem is that it's been 18 years. Everything is different now, and mankind has now developed into this overprotective special snowflake society that's just ruining humor. On top of it, people are getting offended by everything nowadays, which isn't gonna help this show.
Tragic moments figurines. Sure, Grandma will cry when she sees her lovely gift, but for very different reasons.
Not to mention, Netflix is on the internet, and the internet's not exactly safe right now. Seriously, can we leave net neutrality alone? We fought for this. But regardless, that's also a lot of time. 18 years is quite the amount of time for a show to be in a sort of limbo internet keeping it alive state. And then all of a sudden they want to bring it back. Pretty much everyone has moved on from this show. The original cast has gone on to do riff tracks, the original Mads are out touring doing God knows what, and Mary Jo Pehl's gone on to writing books as well as doing a bit of movie riffing on the side. And the writers have also moved on. Honestly, this could have turned into a great big disaster. So, it's 1.5 years and $6.3 million later. Go ahead, MST3K Season 11. Impress me. Oh no! You got the song!
There was a guy named Jonah, not too different from you or me.
That's like my one weakness. I'm a total sucker for the song.
A distress call came in for him at noon. That's when an evil woman trapped him on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah, but I'm confused. How does the evil plan go exactly?
I'll send him cheesy movies, the worst I can find. He'll have to sit and watch them all, and we'll monitor his mind.
And the bit about how he eats and breathes?
If you're wondering how he eats and breathes and other science facts, just repeat to yourself, it's just a show. I should really just relax for Mystery Science Theater 3000!
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Satellite of Love. I'm Jonah Heston, and these are my robot friends, Crow and Tom Servo.
Finally, a goddamn reboot that makes me not want to cry for the original. The reboot of Mystery Science Theater 3000 is everything that it needs to be and no more. And that's a good thing because of its simplistic formula. They still riff on movies, and it's funny. Oh god, it's funny. Also, the style has really held up. The paper mache style that they're going for is very MST3K. They also brought back the invention exchange for this reboot, which admittedly is a bit less creative than it was in previous seasons, but it's still pretty good. To be quite honest, I have little to no problems with the show at all. Well, maybe except for the humor. It's not even bad humor. The show's funny. It's just different. Different isn't a bad thing, it's just different. The writing has changed, the humor has evolved, and they make reference to things that didn't exist back in the 90s. Really, all it takes is a bit of getting used to. Their movie selection's not bad either. It's a whole bunch of obscure movies that barely anyone's ever heard of. Also movies that have incredibly low scores on IMDb. It also brings up the age-old question, do they have low scores because they were on MST3K, or were they already low scores? And I know you probably think I'm gonna touch base on the performances in this show, but really, that's not an important factor in MST3K. It's just a show that's here to make you laugh. You're not supposed to really take it that seriously. That's not to say that Jonah Ray or any of the other cast members don't do a good job, because they do. Really, there isn't a tremendous amount to say about the new show. It's the wonderful, hilarious movie riffing that we've come to know and love from the show, just improved in several areas. Which honestly is what all reboots should try and strive for. Try to capture the feeling of the original while staying true to its roots. And you know what? This show does that. It does it really well. I'd highly recommend any fan of the original series to go and binge watch this. They released all 14 episodes at the same time, so you can do that. So for the first time here on Hunter Reviews, my final opinion on it, 10 out of 10. I don't see a problem with it at all. It's the same hilarious show that we've come to know and love, just rebooted and adapted for the modern age. And let's face it, that's what everyone really wanted in a reboot of this show. It's good enough for younger fans to get into it, and it's good enough for older fans to come back to it. And it also still plays itself off as a family show, which is really important. Rarely does a reboot stick to what its original content was, but this one seems to hold up really well, which I can safely say I wasn't expecting. Since it's been 18 years, this could have gone terribly. But it was a ridiculously successful Kickstarter, they stuck to their guns, and they made something absolutely fantastic. And like its predecessor, this show kicks ass. And at the end of the day, we could go home and think, hey, we brought back Mystery Science Theater 3000. My name is Hunter, and this has been a Hunter Review.
And that's our song, we hope that you enjoyed it. And if you thought that it was stupid and dry, come on and kill us with a forklift. All we wanna do, with love from us to you, is sing the